But the size of this project, where it has gone since the last special permit, was a substantial increase on its own, is too much. And it's going to be sitting on both sidewalks. As I say, it's up now to 60 feet in height. And I think that it is totally out of scale for the neighborhood.
I think the building looks fantastic. I'm not sure, it's up against a busy street. I just would love to quantitatively talk about too much. Because if we're just going by our gut, I think the building looks fantastic. I mean, if there's some data on the size that's problematic, other than doesn't feel right, I'm all ears. But I think we should be careful not to vote on this based on a gut feeling, because there's a lot of data that says, that the world's changing and the needs are different. So I think if we're just going on aesthetics, I think the building looks fantastic.
My objections in committee were the fact that there simply is not enough parking for the restaurant. I'm quite satisfied with the parking for the housing. I think it's 50 housing units, 50 parking spaces. I think that's fair. But 160 seat restaurant with 13 parking spaces, quite frankly, is not enough. And the parking waiver that the petitioner is asking for is just simply too much. The parking situation in West Newton is not working. What the petitioner presented during land use, I don't think is going to work. Folks are going to have to walk up to 6 minutes, and they're going to have to park in residential districts and walk up to 6 minutes from their parking spot to the restaurant. I think they should have put more parking in the development.
Grossman, I think that this building is amazing, and as someone who's on land use and has heard the many presentations on this building, starting from day one of the new design, it made me think of Paris and beautiful European cities where people seamlessly build, take older buildings and attach newer buildings and bring them together in a sort of a unified front. And that's what this building looks like to me.
Newton. I'm not like 100% on board, as like one or two other people have said. I wish we could address the parking situation better in West Newton Square, but you know what? That is not on Mark Development. That is on Newton. We need to figure out how to do that here in West Newton Square.
We might not need to ask Mark Development to solve the parking issue, but in looking at a special permit, I think we have to ask, does it make things worse? And in this case, I think it will. We have a restaurant with the parking situation still unresolved. The attempt to deal with the church, the attempt to deal with the garage down on Chestnut Street, nothing is firm, no indication of when there would be a solution. And if parking is insufficient, it's only going to hurt the existing businesses in West Newton Square.
And when I recently had heard, not that recently, but that they were thinking of eliminating the restaurant, I was upset about that, because it's a beautiful building for a restaurant. It's a beautiful facade. The patio that they want to put in, we need it.
I think the parking is going to be a problem. I don't think that, however, whichever one of my colleagues said it earlier, I don't necessarily put that on this developer to solve. I do think that we're going to have to really I don't know who's going to do it or how we're going to do it, but we're going to have to put some energy on the issue of parking in West Newton Square, because we will be talking about the same thing with the next proposal that comes in from West Newton Square. And certainly there will be some, and probably in the not too distant future.
What bothers me is we've got a big job ahead of us with all of this rezoning, and we need to try and find some middle ground. I have been preaching and asking and praying, it's going back to Washington Street vision, that we have a 4-story cap on buildings, except in extreme situations.